Hi, my name is Floyd Mueller from the Exertion Games Lab. Together with Damon Young, we're talking about 5 lenses for designing exertion experiences. We look at the intersection between body, play, and technology, and we call that exertion games. And we've been doing this for a while now, and we've got a bunch of systems for that, but what's still always missing was some kind of theoretical founding to realize our vision of going from playing with digital content to now, thanks to the Kinect and so forth, playing with digital using our bodies, but rather what we really want is experiencing our bodies as digital play. And in our quest to find this kind of theoretical grounding to make this a reality, we came across this book called How to Think About Exercise. It's a book by the School of Life, which is Alain de Botton's brainchild, and basically it's a series, and it deals with uses philosophy to deal with everyday life and allows you to think about life, and it allows you to think about exercise. And HCI has previously drawn from other fields quite extensively, it is known for that, but it hasn't really done so from philosophy, in particular sports philosophy. So what we're doing here now is introducing HCI and therefore you as a community to sports philosophy, because we think we can really here make a shift in how we design exertion experiences. In particular, we want to highlight the value of virtues as a new concept in HCI. It has been used before, but mostly to support underdeveloped communities, but not in the design of exertion experiences. And this is the new introduction here. Virtues come from the Greek word aret, meaning excellence. And that's a way of living up to one's full potential, because we believe that exertion can facilitate personal growth, which is very, very different to other theoretical approaches like behavior change. We want to facilitate personal growth. But it's important to know that these are not guidelines, because it can only be developed by acting well. So you still have to do the right thing at the right time and place. So what we did is we turned these virtues, very traditional virtues, into lenses that hopefully help you when you design exertion experiences. These lenses are reverie, humility, the sublime, pleasure, and oneness. But in the interest of time, I'm just going to talk about the first 3 today. A small disclaimer, I should highlight that, as one of the reviewers said, there is no system, no study, no evaluation of any sort in this paper. And this was actually the first line that we read in our review, and we already thought, what's going to come up there. But we were very happy that they appreciated the risk we took by writing a paper that, indeed, there's no system in there, there's no study, there's no data as such, in the traditional sense. So we rather wanted to present a new kind of thinking about how to approach exertion by drawing on sports philosophy. So we appreciate that the reviewers went along with our risk and allowed us to write this, what they called rather unusual kind of paper. Thank you for that. Okay, let's look at these lenses. The first lens is reverie. Reverie basically means the daydreaming that you can have when you take a lone walk in the woods. And you all know kind of the benefit of doing that. But thanks to neuroscience, we now actually understand what is going on. And that is in your brain, your prefrontal cortex, where which is responsible for you making rational decisions, it's actually turned down, while the area of your brain that is responsible for gross motor movement, such as in walking, actually go up. And then you have a really interesting imbalance. And that imbalance allows you to have new kind of ideas and thoughts. This is directly relevant to the design of interactive systems, because Mark Weiser, in his vision of ubiquitous computing, already asked us why computers aren't as refreshing as taking a walk in the woods. And hopefully you agree with me that we're still not there. So this is an important aspect to address. And we hope with our lenses we can do that. So we propose that in order to understand reverie, we have to see it from 3 aspects: the void, solitude, and mini holiday. first one, void. By void we basically mean when you are not having any deliberate conscious thoughts, and there's value in that. And we already can do that by using, for example, headphones when we take a walk in an urban environment. Because we can just play bird sounds, forest sounds while doing that. And if that doesn't work for you, we can actually change the sound and instead play the sound of the beach in order to experience the void and therefore a sense of well-being. The next aspect of that is solitude. And here we want to highlight that being alone is actually valuable because it allows us to relax. However, if you look at pretty much 99.9% of all apps that support exertion, they all have social media integration in there. And we argue that it's not because we think it's valuable, but rather because there is an IDE that allows us with a simple press of a button have that social media integration. So what we instead here argue, what's equally important is that we have a button that allows for solitude by actually not enable social media integration, because it allows us to relax. So that's what we want. The next aspect is a mini holiday. We should see exertion experiences as a mini holiday, because it allows us to see that in a contrast to everyday life, where we have like task lists and reminders to do. Because these holidays allow us to relax from that everyday life and see there's a reprieve to that. We need to design for this. So in Sum for Reverie, there's three aspects: void, solitude, and mini holiday. And all these lenses come with a simple exercise for you to do, or for you with your students to do when you teach this, in order to allow you to experience that firsthand, because we believe by experiencing firsthand, you have a better ability to engage with them. And here for Reverie, we encourage you to actually just go for a walk after this session and see what kind of new ideas arrive now that you know about Reverie. The next lens is humility. And humility basically refers to the fact that being humble is a valuable thing, because it allows you to be more honest, and only if you're being more honest to yourself, you can actually improve. What does it mean? Well, it includes being awareness of your limitations, seeing the physical environment as a lie detector, and failing and trying again. What I pull up here for you is my Nike Plus, which is a running app, data over the last 10 years. And here technology really helps me be aware of my limitations, right? This makes me quite aware that I have bodily flaws. And you see, one year, I can't tell you why I didn't jog at all. Other years, I was a bit better. But it contrasts to the idea that most apps like the Nike Plus assume that your graph always goes up and up and up and up, and then it gives you like this nice feedback of saying, well done, better than last time, keep up the good work. Unless you're under the age of 23 in here now, your graph is most likely going to go down, because in most sports you peak at the age of 23. But how do we design for that fact that we have these bodily limitations? What kind of feedback do we give people? And here we argue there's a value in knowing these bodily limitations. We won't quite know is how to communicate that to our users. The next aspect to humility is a lie detector, because we often lie to ourselves. You don't know how many people lie to themselves, how often they go to the gym every time they sign up and then don't end up going. We lie to other people, and we trash talk other people down and put ourselves further up. However, if you actually go into the physical environment, if you go outdoors, you can't lie to a mountain. The Eiger North Face has been called a lie detector because you can't lie to the rock. The rock will tell you about your bodily limitations. And that doesn't mean that we diss rock climbing simulations like here the climb by Kreitag. We just argue that these simulations will never actually be the same kind of lie detector than a physical mountain is. Because if I fail in this VR climbing situation, I can always say, there must be a software bug, that's why I didn't achieve the game's goal. What these games can do, and why they are still valuable, however we think, is because they allow you to experience vertigo as known from rock climbing by giving you that lag in the HMD. So we need to design these systems based on their strengths. The third aspect of humility is failing and trying again. Malloy is a famous mountaineer. He said almost 100 years ago when asked why he wants to so desperately climb Mount Everest, because it's there. And that highlights that failing and trying again is valuable for its own sake. Because achievement requires both ambition and failure. And that highlights that we as humans are realizing that we are not perfect and we will never be. But trying, failing, and trying again is worth for its own sake. And Csikszentmihalyi, not talking about flow, but autotelic, I think is a much more interesting concept that he proposes. Because it highlights that you need to achieve anything, you need to actually have tried and tried and tried again, for its own sake. So here you have the three aspects of humility: awareness of limitations, the physical environment as lie detector, and failing and trying again for its own sake. And the physical activity task that we recommend you to do is just engage in some kind of new exertion experience. Try something out new in order to experience humility firsthand. The next lens and last lens is the sublime. And the sublime basically refers to if you are swimming in the ocean. It's not that the ocean actually drowns you, but the fact that it could. And that creates some kind of threat that can be very stimulating. And that's the sublime. There's three aspects to it: being in and out of bodily control, stimulation by threat, and savoring the precariousness of life. If you look at the first one, being in and out of bodily control, of course you're in control because you know how to swim. But you're also out of control because you know the ocean can take you any second. What we demonstrate here is that through technology you can create these new type of bodily experiences in which you are in and out of control and experience the sublime. Here's an example, Balance Ninja, which is a game in which two players, video play? Yeah. In which two players get in and out of bodily balance control by standing on these balance boards. And what we also do is we apply galvanic vestibular stimulation behind their ear, which is a small current that where we sense if you're leaning to the left, we actually apply the GVS stimulation on the right of the other player. So if I lean to the left, the other player gets moved to the right and vice versa. And that allows you to experience being in and out of bodily control in a social setting, and therefore experience a sense of being in the sublime without having to go into an ocean. That's a new type of sublime experience enabled by technology. The next aspect is stimulation by threat. Because obviously, if you're a more experienced swimmer, you have to go further out into the ocean to experience the sublime. And if you're a beginner swimmer, you might experience the sublime in a pool. But what we can do now with technology is actually, if we could, through biosensors, for example, measure the threat that you experience, we could then use pools such as this that allow you to increase or decrease the depth of the pool based on the threat and the stimulation you experience, allowing for new kind of experiences. The last aspect refers to savoring the precariousness of life. Because it means that life is very, very valuable. But it can just be gone any second. Because if you know skydiving, you know a single mistake can take a life. And what can we do here now is that's actually us, the authors, and one of these skydiving wind tunnels. And I can tell you here that even though it's much safer, you still have a sense of threat that stimulates you, that allows you to savor that precariousness of life without having to go through extensive training that costs a lot of money. So here, there are the three aspects of the sublime. Again, an exercise for you to do, to experience is simply just go and swim in the ocean. So to sum up, What we presented you here is 3 out of 5 lenses: reverie, humility, and sublime. And there's associated exercises: go for a walk, try something new, and swim in the ocean. And we believe by thinking about these lenses, it allows you to go from playing with digital content to playing with the digital, using our bodies to truly experiencing our bodies as digital play. And with that, Damon and I say thank you. We are from the Exertion Games Lab. That was 5 lenses for designing exertion experiences. I should quickly add that if you're interested in that, we are hiring, especially these topics. And if you want to experience that yourself, we encourage you to join our jogging event after the last session tomorrow. We meet in front of 301, bring your jogging gear, and then we're going to go along a creek. There's a really nice path. We're going to go jogging. Our jogging levels will be catered for, and then we discuss more exertion and HCI stuff. Thank you very much.